Hey there, if we haven't met yet, my name's Sarah and I'm the mom next door. I invite you to come along with me today as I do some Sunday meal prep for the week. This fall has been particularly busy and dinners have been a challenge. I'm a big fan of the motto, fix what bugs you, and dinner was bugging me. So one of the things I've been trying is inspired by the family freezer. I've been doing some meal prep, putting a bunch of meals together, putting them in gallon Ziploc bags, and then freezing them on Sundays. This has been a great process for us because all I have to do is dump out a Ziploc bag into the crock pot and dinner's ready to go. I've been doing this for a couple weeks now. It's life-changing and I love it. I also got these cool new gadgets off of Amazon to hold up the Ziploc bags, so let's give them a try. Today I'm breaking up my meal prep into two different sessions. In my first session, I'm gonna make split pea soup and honey sesame chicken. And then a little bit later in the day, I'm gonna make some taco soup and some chili. Stick around to the end and I'll give you some free recipe cards that you can screenshot. All right, let's give it a try. I noticed right away these Ziploc bag stands feel pretty sturdy. All right, let's start with split pea soup. I'm gonna rinse the split peas first before I add them to the first bag. Just dump in the split peas right in the first bag. Now let's add some carrots. I like to save time by buying pre-cut frozen carrots. Usually I'd chop them up smaller than this, but it's worth the time saving to just have the crinkle cut carrots. We're also gonna add some ham. So I bought one of these ham steaks. I'm gonna chop it up into nice cubes. I do like to remove the skin around the edges before I chop it up though. So I'm using my favorite Cutco knife for all the chopping today, and I'll put a link above to another video on how to sharpen your knives if you happen to have these same Cutco knives. Next we're gonna add onions. Just like with the carrots, I buy them frozen and pre-chopped. Saves a ton of time, so much easier. Next I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and a lot of pepper. That's all you need to do the meal prep for split pea soup. When you go to add it to the crock pot, you'll want to add about 8 cups of water and or broth. Okay, I washed my cutting board and now we're going to get ready to do the honey sesame chicken. I just used the frozen chicken breast from Costco. I'm going to add 4, maybe 5 to the bag depending on the size of each chicken breast. Add another bag of onions. Adding some sesame seeds. And then olive oil. Quick tip, if you have a recipe like this one that calls for olive oil and for honey, if you use the olive oil first in your measuring cup, it'll prevent the honey from sticking. So this called for 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I measured it into my measuring cup that I'm going to use for my honey. Dumping it in, now I'm going to use that oiled measuring cup to measure out my honey, and it really makes the cleanup a lot easier and it makes it easy to pour so it doesn't stick to your measuring cup. Now I'll add the remaining ingredients, which is soy sauce, some ketchup, some spices, and this one is good to go. Now we want to remove all of the air out of the bag and zip it up tight. I have to say I'm really happy with these Ziploc stands. It made it a lot easier to do this meal prep in the Ziploc bags. These felt pretty sturdy and stable. I actually had them sitting right on the edge of my counter just so everything could fit right, and I felt good about them. I didn't feel like they were going to tip over or anything. There is also a 6-pack of these stands on Amazon, but I'm feeling pretty good about my choice to get just the 2-pack. It would have been hard to focus on prepping more than 2 meals at the same time. Plus, from start to finish, I could prep 2 meals in 20 minutes or less and then step away, get some other stuff done, and come back to prep my other 2 meals. Next, we're prepping chili and taco soup. So for these, I already have some ground beef frozen in the bottom of each of these bags. And now I'm going to add some onions to both of these bags. I ran out of my frozen pre-chopped onions, so I'm using my Cutco knives, chopping up some onions, and I'll add those in. You might notice I have some helping hands. My son William decided to help me with this batch of meal prep. I like to add ranch and taco seasoning to my taco soup, as well as rotels and black beans and corn. So I gave my son the task of adding 2 tablespoons of ranch and 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning mix to the taco soup. I must not have been clear enough because he ended up adding some ranch to the chili as well. I caught him, and so I at least got him before he added the taco seasoning, but I don't know, there's ranch in there. We'll see how the ranch goes. It might be our favorite new chili recipe. Who knows? We're just going with it. So we're dumping in all the canned stuff to the taco soup mix, focusing on finishing that recipe first before moving on to the chili. All right, so let's prep the chili. For this one, I do 2 cans of the petite diced tomatoes, so we're gonna dump those in. I like 1 can of tomato paste. Remember, we already have our ground beef and our onions in here. I love bell pepper in my chili, so I'm cutting up a green bell pepper. That's what I had on hand. If I had 2 bell peppers, I would put 2 in, but I just have 1, so that's what I'm using. We're also adding in some frozen cauliflower rice from Costco into our chili today. Really, I like to add in whatever veggies I have on hand. Cauliflower, bell peppers, sometimes I add in squash or even sweet potato. Whatever I have, I like to chop it up and throw it in the chili to make it nice and chunky and delicious. So again, I feel like these bag holders are really pretty sturdy. You'll see they're kind of close to the edge of the counter. We're chopping stuff in, we're moving together, adding stuff to the bags, and they're just not going anywhere. They're really sturdy. It's way easier to have them upright than they were when I was just trying to lay them on the counter and add stuff to them the last couple weeks. So this has made it much easier. I'm really happy I got these. So next we're gonna add our spices, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 1 tablespoon of cumin, and I'm gonna add in some garlic powder too. Next, we're gonna add in our beans. I'm doing black beans today because that's what I have on hand. That's what Costco had in stock, but you could use kidney beans or 3-bean mix, whatever beans you have. And there we have prepped for the week taco soup, as well as some chili. You might wanna make cornbread to go with chili or have some chips and cheese to go on top of the taco soup and some sour cream. But really, to make these, all you have to do is dump them in the crock pot, push a button, and you're good to go. I am going to store these in the freezer this week, and you do want to pick out your meal the night before, put it in the fridge so it can start to thaw a little bit before you throw it in the crock pot. You'll also want to make sure that you seal these up tight, getting as much air as possible out of them. So altogether, it took about 14 minutes to prep the honey sesame chicken and split pea soup, and about 18 minutes to prep the chili and the taco soup, maybe because I had to chop up all those onions. Feels so good to wrap up my Sunday and walk into a new week with 4 meals in the freezer ready to go in the crock pot this week. Here's some free recipe cards just for you. Feel free to take some screenshots. Do you need help organizing your recipes? Check out my other video on how to organize your recipes electronically. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something today that helps you live life better.